What is up, DTube, Steem blockchain, and Palnet.io? I think that's the website. So, okay, so I discovered Palcoin, which is a token on Steem-Engine. And if you don't know what Steem-Engine is, basically it's like a smart media tokens. We never got smart media tokens, but then some developers made Steem-Engine, so people can make their own token, and it's paired to Steem, so it has this built-in exchange, and there is a token there called Palcoin. And the interesting part about Palcoin is it's like a baby Steem in many ways. So they have an interface that is just like Steem, and you log in with your Steem account. And they only start off with 21 million coins, I think, or maybe 24 million. It was around 20 million, and then they're gonna have some inflation. But the cool thing is that content creators can get in early. It's 50-50 curation and content creator reward, so it's very interesting to see how that can play out. I don't really know how, but then they have the liquid system for Palcoin, and they also have, you can stake it. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm really curious how the 50-50 thing can work. I don't really know how, or I don't know, but I don't know. It's an interesting experiment. For example, right now I feel used like a student. The next couple of years in this space, industry, whatever, I'm just gonna be a student to see what works and what doesn't work, and I'm gonna learn so much. But for example, if I just compare it to 2018, I mean, there's so much better stuff out there already. There's so much good stuff that has happened in the last couple of months. Stuff that wasn't available just 2018. It's almost already a 2x improvement in stuff. And the fun part about this industry is people are learning so much from, not these buzzwords, but people are learning so much from failures. They're learning more from failures than success in many ways, which is kind of interesting. So people learn what not to do, what doesn't work. So even if some of this stuff would fail, people learn so much. And that's interesting. So I think the URL was palnet.io, and you need to use the palnet tag on a piece of content. And on the new DTube 0.9, what's interesting is, what's really interesting is that you can go on the right side, you can click a thing, and if you click on PalTube, you can only see content with the Palnet tag. And then the cool thing with something that starts with around 20 million supply is it already looks scarce. I mean, already in the beginning. So maybe you see some big rewards on a piece of on PalTube with like 20 PAL, or some maybe 1 PAL, or a little bit less. So it almost feels like Bitcoin in many ways. It looks really scarce, which is kind of interesting. And also it was interesting just because I had some Steem already, so I could claim around $50 in PAL tokens or PAL coins. I think people are gonna say PAL, but yeah, $50 just like that. It was kind of interesting. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. I mainly enjoyed that it was implemented in YouTube under PalTube. The logo is pretty interesting, and I think video creators mainly will love it so much, because video creators, for example with DTube right now, you can earn Steem, DTC, DTube coin. Right now I use the testnet, limitless voting power, amazing. And what else? And yeah, now I'm Palcoin as well. So earning 3 tokens on one that's super rare, one that has this edgy cool system, DTube coins, and Steem. Steem is like the grandpa of them all. So that is cool. I mean, I'm just gonna say that's really cool. Because I mean, yeah, it's printing abundance in many ways. It is. it's mainly going to be interesting to see what works out in the long run, because blockchains are so new. This industry is so new. I know people say that literally every single day, but it is. And I never really worried too much about the future of this industry, because I feel that video creators, clearly they're bringing amazing value, and it's a win-win system from all sides. For example, doing new videos, it doesn't really cost anything, but it gives a lot of value. And the tokens that are being created, it doesn't really cost anything. It's just a robot, right? But it's a win-win influence in terms of, or win-win system. Someone gets influenced, someone gets seen, gets more attention, and all of that. So it's also interesting with Palnet, for example, with in terms of the first impressions, is kind of like a Steam without the spam. It really feels like that in a way, because in the beginning here, you have to be like a super geek to sort of understand it in many ways. You need to use the tag, you need to blah 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 blah. But it's nice because it's easier to find, I think, original content or just higher quality content. So just as a filter system, Palnet works great. And oh yeah, I love the game theory behind all these different chains, different systems, because let's be honest, the free market is amazing. The free market is amazing. The ability to have a free market, something, and a global market, something this world never has had before. People have always been fighting, and now it's like you don't really need to fight anymore. You can earn 3 tokens. It's kind of cool, and you can use, as people have said, with Steam for a couple of years. It's still a beta, it's still an experiment. And that's the thing also, that it's just like people sort of in many ways have to be a student and not trying to make money right now, but just trying to see, how do you make a perfect community? How do you make a perfect community that makes amazing content, that also has a built-in governance system, that also has a blockchain, and that also has a great brand? It needs to have a brand with some weight behind it. I really do believe that. Great brand, great rewards, great content, great leaders, great developers. You need a lot of people, basically. A lot of various kinds of people. And it's nice how many of these new systems, or especially the DTube, the new DTube chain is going to be called Avalon. It's nice how it is considering not just content creators, but the curators and people that do not make content at all. Maybe they just want to share something cool, and that they can still profit from that. That's genius. For example, with the DTube chain, you can link a YouTube video that's not even yours and make tokens. That's interesting. It is kind of cool, because the whole internet works on share and fun. There's no need for everyone to have to make their own content, because let's be honest, content already is free. For example, recording this video doesn't really take that much, and if it takes a little bit, it's still gonna go down to near zero marginal cost eventually. So all the digital stuff in many ways are worth zero, but then when we can print tokens, yes, we can also reward it at the same time. And that might sound super confusing for a lot of people, because they usually look at money as some separate thing, some mystical thing. But it's not really when you can create it. And this is something that only banks was able to do in the past. Not anymore though. So I enjoy all the systems that in the long run can free a person up. Because if you really look at what is the goal of smartphones, what is the goal of technology? I mean, in the long run, it is to liberate a human being. Is to free up a human being. That's the whole point of technology, that it's meant to free a human being from doing menial tasks or boring tasks or repetitive tasks or whatever it now is. There's a lot of things humans do not have to do that a machine or a blockchain instead can do, and that's very nice. So it's going to be interesting to see how PalNet plays out. In the long run, I think eventually people are going to move to a few main tokens, and it's going to be the tokens that fastest way can create more value than others. So we saw this happen in many industries in the past. The car industry, the news industry, that eventually you get these big successful systems that usually just eat up everything else. It's kind of like how it works also in nature. That some successful systems eventually probably is going to eat up everything else. So right now we have a few thousand tokens, and it's all shiny, blockchains, tokens, whatever. But eventually we're going to see what is really bringing trust, what is really bringing value, what is really working, what is still having a community, what is having active users, what are the places where people hang, what are the cool places, what are the places where people post the cool content, what are the places with the best developers, what are the places with the best governance systems. I mean, a big reason why Bitcoin is so big is because it's basically, there's no leader, which is kind of interesting. You have the miners, but the guy who said he created it, he's sort of gone. So he sort of realized in many ways that if you want something that has value in some ways, call it trustless or whatever, permissionless, all these buzzwords, but he sort of realized that, well, you probably cannot have a leader hanging around, and it's very complex to build something that has value or whatever, or that people believe in, and sometimes random things can take off. Sometimes it's about timing. For example, right now in the world, it's a bit of a chaos in some ways, which means there's a lot of opportunity at the same time. Timing of something. Maybe a person has some amazing thing, but if they can't execute it, if they can't take action, if they can't make something happen, if they are not street smart, only book smart or whatever, maybe it's not going to be a success. Like there's so much stuff involved in what makes something successful, but even though we have many great tokens and systems right now, I think eventually it's gonna gravitate to something, or a smaller quantity, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be, first it's not gonna sound like, oh, that's never gonna happen, but then some systems are used, maybe they use AI, maybe they use something, but AI, for example, maybe AI finds ways to give more value to the end user faster than anything else. It's going to be something And eventually what we're going to see massive value flows to specific places. For example, a big reason why I think video is going to hang around a lot is because video is not just information. It's that you see a human. You see a human face. It feels familiar. It's nice. It's nice. It feels human. It's not just the content. And I think that's a big key. That humans feel that there's some emotional connection that can happen. Doesn't mean it will, but something. Why I think other based content, maybe text-based content, may struggle a little bit more is because if it's just text-based content, maybe a robot can read it. It's not like the content that has some real human element inside of it, human face, human video, or whatever. It's harder to just replace. But video or text-based content, just many times it can be more challenging to bring in the uniqueness of a person into that content. So maybe a lot of that's going to be automated. Maybe we're probably going to automate everything, and we're probably going to automate the whole thing eventually. And I don't know. Yeah, I mean, isn't it gonna happen? I mean, in some ways it sort of feels like it's gonna happen. You're gonna automate the whole thing, the whole value chain. But then it sounds so unreal for people. I'm not really sure why. Because if you really take a look at it, I mean, even ants are making a living daily. So why wouldn't humans be able to make some robot that does all, so they don't have to do it, so they can focus on other things? I mean, making a living, every animal in the animal kingdom is doing it. And if we are the highest evolved creature on this place, clearly making a living should not be a big deal. We can have the AI do it. Like, it just brings in some tokens or whatever. But then of course people start to wonder, like, okay, who's gonna have what? But what I think people are sort of missing is that most people are not really gonna care. Oh, okay, you can buy 10 times bigger, or you can buy a bigger mansion than me. I mean, I think that when most people have what they need and it's covered for 10 plus years, you're not really gonna worry too much about who has the biggest boat, mansion, car. It may just be a small little hobby that some people are engaged in, but the majority are gonna be pretty satisfied with 50 years of living without really have to focus on the basics. But then we're gonna do something else. For example, I think that what we're doing right now is gonna it looks very silly in maybe 5 years. I mean, really, it's gonna look very, very weird. It's gonna be like, they're gonna laugh at these videos. Oh, they were scared of automation and all of this. I mean, they're gonna worry about something else in the future, I think. But yeah, PalNet, it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's cool. I mean, it's cool. I don't know what else I can say about it. It's cool with new systems. It's cool with experimentation. More experiments needs to be done, basically, to see what works and what doesn't work. But I don't think people should forget that we're now just in the testing phase, or we're now just in, let's say, I think, the student phase, where people have no idea what works, what's gonna work. It's just, I had that also when I made YouTube videos, where you just throw out everything on the wall. You do all kinds of videos. You experiment with humans, and you see what works and what doesn't work. And that's what you have to do. I mean, we don't know what's gonna succeed or fail or whatever. You just have to put out all of it on the table and see what survives. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to follow this industry. I think Steem-Engine is gonna be huge, and lots of challenges ahead, else in many ways. especially to make systems grow and thrive and reach critical mass. Because we have the big boys coming in. Libra. People may dislike Libra, but don't forget the power of the masses. They might take over completely with Libra. I don't know, but you have to see. We have to see. Yeah, have an awesome day, DTube. Have an awesome day, DTube Chain. Have an awesome day, Steem. And have an awesome day, Palnet, with the Palcoins. Yeah, bye-bye.